Now, as this is my last week on the programme, I'm doing 4 interviews of my choice. Tonight, I revisit what I regard was the most moving interview of my whole career. Shortly after 18-year-old Anthony Walker was murdered with an axe in a Liverpool park just because he was black, I spoke to his mother, G. She described then the deep pain she felt in words that I will never forget.
If you can picture the sharp edge on a knife which cuts deep, that sharp edge is gone, but the pain's still there.
And yet, astonishingly, she went on to say she forgave her son's killer. 6 years on, I went back to visit the most remarkable and inspirational woman I've ever met to find out if that terrible pain had eased, even a little.
You know, there's a proverb that says, time's a great healer. It's not true. The healing process seemed to is slow, very slow, extremely slow. But the pain is still there. It could have been yesterday.
Anthony, of course, would now have been 24 years old. Do you ever sit back and close your eyes and think what he would look like now, what he'd be like, what he'd be doing, where he'd be?
Gordon, I don't have to close my eyes. I see him all the time. Most recently, I was at a graduation and I saw a young man who looks like him, and the tears rolled down. And he acknowledged me, and that made it worse. And so I see him, his spirit living on in many ways in so many young men. I don't have to close my eyes. I think about him all the time.
Do you talk to him?
I just sometimes ask, am I doing okay for you, son? I hope what I'm doing is pleasing to you. So I do talk to him.
In that last interview I did with you, you said one of the most remarkable and astonishing things that I think captured everybody who watched that interview, when you said that you showed no hatred whatsoever towards those 2 thugs who murdered Anthony. You felt a motherly instinct and you wanted to sit them down in a room and talk to them about why they had so much hate in them. Have you had any communication with them? Has there been any sign of remorse from either of those 2?
Most recently, there's been an incident with Facebook. Paul Taylor, that made reference to him that he'd posted racial things.
And he was the one that actually struck the blow that killed Anthony?
Yes, he was. And he'd written to me to apologise, saying that it wasn't him who placed those remarks, because he understands that we're suffering enough and he wouldn't want to cause us any more pain. And he understands that there are questions that I'd like answered, and he will avail himself when I'm ready to speak to him.
And are you ready?
I'm not ready, but I'll know when the time is right.
What are these questions? What would you want to ask him?
Why, Anthony? Why did he do that? Those times when I saw him in the playground, those times when he played with my children, acknowledge me. Was it real? What happened?
And when do you think you'll be ready?
God only knows, but I'm sure my heart will tell me when the time's right.
Well, out of something so terrible came something very positive, and that was the setting up of the Anthony Walker Foundation, which promotes equality in the community through education, arts and sport. What sort of an impact do you think that's made? Because you travel all over the country and lecture to all sorts of people. What impact do you think it's made?
I go to try to get into school to talk to the children using Anthony, because I don't think people realize that racism is just not just black people. White people suffer racism as well, because most recently I addressed a conference, and 2 white girls sat there in tears, and I was sort of curious as to why was I having such an impact on them. And at the end, they came up to me and said, my brother was killed in a racist attack. And all I could do was the mothering instinct kicked in. I just hugged them, reach out to them. So we need to do more and support, you know.
Do you think Liverpool is now a better place, that there is less hate, that there's less chance of what happened to Anthony happening to anyone else?
I know Liverpool get a lot of say, but I believe they're such unique people with such big hearts. The Scousers are like the water in the desert, the blanket when you're cold. They're just a unique set of people, and I wouldn't want to live anywhere else.
Gee, you are the most remarkable and inspirational woman I've ever met, and it's been an absolute pleasure and an honour to talk to you.
And you. God bless you. Thank you.
It's remarkable. You better read.
Yeah, you can find out more about the Anthony Walker Foundation on their website. That is www.anthonywalkerfoundation.com. There isn't really much more to say, is there, after that? But we will talk about sport. And of course, yesterday,